Now, King Ahab was a good king, and for the most part, he was a good man, but what undermined the life and the legacy of King Ahab was the influence of his wife, Jezebel. Somebody say Jezebel. Now, contrary to popular belief, Jezebel was not a negative impact on biblical history because of how she dressed, but she was a negative impact because of how she believed. You see, true relationship with God is not based upon our appearance, dressing like we come into church. God doesn't care about suits and dresses and all that stuff. He cares about what we believe. Somebody say believe. You see, Jezebel was the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Sidonians. Her name originally meant that Prince Baal exists. Baal was a weather god worshipped in Syro-Palestinian world. In biblical Hebrew, Jezebel's name means there is nobility or no one gets respect. Like, pastor didn't get no respect right now. Jezebel was an evil woman in the Bible. The main people in her life were all affected in one way or another by her evil beliefs. Now, Ahab the king and her husband was a weak-willed man and whom she dominated, and she led him, yes, Lord, she led him into idol worship of the Baal gods. Now, while he worshiped the idols of Baal, she personally made sure that all the prophets of God were killed whom she catched. Jezebel personally took care of the prophets of Baal, giving them direct access to the throne. My God, old girl tripping. Jezebel's denomination of her husband was directly responsible for the whole of Israel falling into the sin of idolatry. The whole nation suffered a famine caused by lack of rain. This was God's judgment on them in 1 Kings 17. Now, this was particularly humiliating for Jezebel, since Baal was supposed to be the god of weather, but here comes Elijah and he prays and he shuts up all the rain. This caused Jezebel to always look at the prophet Elijah as her enemy. After all, Minister Washington, she was the self-proclaimed Queen Bee. Turn to somebody and ask them again, what do you believe? You're going to catch on after a while. Now, this hatred for the man of God increased in the soul of Jezebel when Elijah slayed the 850 false prophets on Mount Carmel, making a fool of their false god Baal. Isn't it amazing how many women sit in church and they hate the prophet, hate the man of God, and hate the pastor because he won't bow down to their Jezebel spirit, and this becomes increasingly frustrating to them when they have a weak, jelly-backed man at home who lets them do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, and whenever they want to do it. Now, for FYI, that kind of a man is not a husband. He's a puppet with the title of husband. Stay with me, you'll catch on. Just like Ahab had the title of king, but he was not really the king, because his wife's spirit ruled Israel. It was his nation, but it was her spiritual kingdom. Let me kick it with you. You see, men of God, if your spirit is not the ruling spirit in your home, then you're not the head of your household. Let me give you an example. Joshua said in 24:4-15, now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you'll serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord.